What's up, reptile fans? Dave Palumbo here in the snake room, and it is officially Tuesday night, but it actually is technically Wednesday morning because once again we're past midnight. This is technically Wednesday morning's video. So here we go. We're going to be doing some snake feeding tonight. So I want to show you how I feed. A lot of people asked me, I didn't know what to film, and I said, hey, you know what? Let's do a feeding video. So I have a chick here. Okay, this is a defrosted chick that I put in it was defrosted overnight. I usually defrost my rodents and chicks, or chick, overnight. And then I usually put the chick in some hot water for about 3 to 4 minutes. I towel it off, and I feed this to my anaconda. This is the only thing that eats birds, okay? It's gotta be a pain in the neck, right? So, let's see if we can show this. I basically have my tongs, because you don't want to get your finger bit, and I got the bird here, and let's see if the anaconda will eat it. You guys are not seeing this, but I'm going to try to show you right now. Here we go. Let's see if she'll perform for the camera. I found that if I don't warm these things up and make them hot, where they can actually sense the heat, they won't eat it, or she won't eat it at least. Other anacondas might. It seems like with babies, you have to really make it so that it's as natural as it possibly can be. Of course, now that the camera's on her, she doesn't want to perform. And what you can do is you can go back and rewarm these things up and make them super hot. Sometimes she just won't take it because she doesn't want to. Maybe she's in shed. Sometimes she's not hungry. Although I think anacondas are always hungry. I think they're very nervous eaters when they're first born. Like a lot of snakes. Carpet pythons are terrible eaters when they're first born, usually. Until they get those first couple meals. All right, so my technique now is to reheat this thing up. So I'm gonna go heat it up again. It's pretty warm. I just left it there, and she just grabbed it and pulled it right onto this hide box and took it. She'll eat it now. I'm whispering like they do at the golf tournaments. You ever watch golf on TV or tennis? They don't want anyone to hear them. So you have this whisper. We don't want to upset the anaconda in case she won't eat. She took it though. She's got it in her mouth. I'm going to close up the tub so she can eat in private. All right, that's going to be the hardest one today, I guarantee it. All right, let's go in. This is my favorite sperm I produced this past year that I kept, my holdback male, albino green hypo granite. Hit all my genes. Give him a nice little rat. He's just so mellow. I don't know why it is, but the albinos just is so much more mellow, personality-wise. Not as aggressive. A little anticlimactic, but I wanted to show you my Eclipse head albino female that just nailed a nice small rat as well. This is my Frozen Thawed crew. All right, I'm going to feed one of my 100% het blood het sterlings, the male. Nice small rat here. They take Frozen Thawed pretty easily, usually. Let's see if we got him. Yep, he grabbed it. So this is going to be the potential blood sterling project. I don't know why he didn't take it. Now he's making me look bad. There we go. Sometimes you got to just move it around a little bit. We're going to feed the female a little bigger prey. This may be too big for her. That's a big rat there. Too big. I don't want to feed it. Turned around, she grabbed it. She grabbed it. She's actually bigger than I thought. She'll be able to handle it. I only feed her every other week. She'll be fine. She's growing girl. I normally don't feed boas during the breeding season. However, I'm going to give you an exception. When you have a male that you might put into more than one tub, with more than one female, it's like you're constantly rotating them. They're not getting a lot of rest because they're doing a lot of breeding, hopefully. So a lot of times with those, I'll take them out for a couple days, give them a break, and I'll feed them. Just to give them some more energy to burn, because I just think that sometimes you can breed them to death, essentially. They burn too many calories. So it's good to give them a break. The males don't seem to stop breeding, I don't find, if you feed them. Females, who knows? Females, even if you pepper them with a little food, a lot of times they won't eat, in the breeding season. So, but with the males, if I'm using them a lot, I tend to try to give them a meal during that 10 to 12 week no feeding window. Once we kind of get into starts getting a little warmer and I warm up the room, I will feed and offer food to the female boas. Sometimes they eat, sometimes they don't. But sometimes that will actually kick them into gear too and will help them ovulate and get to that next stage. But with the males, if you're breeding more than one female with your male, I recommend throwing a food meal in every maybe 4 weeks or so, just to give it a little extra, because I can start to feel that they're getting a little thinner. So I want to get a little meal into this. So I'm going to give my sterling, my hypo sterling Russo Red Pastel, a meal right now, and we'll let him digest for a couple days, and then we'll put him back in the rotation. All right, let's get to my sterling, hypo sterling male. Let's see if he'll eat. He might not even eat. I'm going to offer him. He's resting right now because he's been overworked. He might even be going into shed for all I know. I'm not sure. Let's see if he'll take this meal. Boas usually don't turn down food. The only time they might is if they're like I said, if they're going into shed. He looks like he could be going to shed. He's getting a little dark looking, and so it's possible he won't eat. A lot of times he'll eat anyway. Up here he comes. Here he comes. Let's see if we can grab this thing. Let's see. He's definitely going in shed. I can see his eyes, but he might eat anyway. Come on, big boy. You want a meal? He's definitely interested. I bet if I put a live one in there, he would go after it. Maybe not. His eyes are really, he's deep in shed. If this was like 2 days earlier, he definitely would have taken this thing. All right. Right now, he's probably just scared because he can't see because his eyes are so dark. He's going to be like, man. Oh, he took it. He took it. And we'll keep an eye on him to make sure he eats that. Right now, he might have just taken it as a defensive posture. Nope, he took it in there. All right, good. So he'll eat. And boas will eat when they're in shed. All the time they do it. And in a couple days, he'll shed and poop, and he'll be ready to go back in the rotation. All right, so that didn't work out too badly. All right, guys. That was a little bit of a little teaser feeding video. What I do, usually on Tuesday nights, I will feed Frozen Thawed. I'm not feeding a lot now, obviously, because most of my boas and carpets are in breeding season. So I don't have the huge jumbo rats out. The berms are also together. So there's not a lot going on. I'm feeding my grow-ups, essentially, all my grow-up animals. And I'm not even feeding all of them because some of them will eat live. What I do is I kind of cut back the feeding. I still do feed year-round. Sometimes I'll take a week off here and there, but I try to feed year-round because I like my grow-ups to put some size on and be ready to breed, especially the ball pythons. I find that sometimes if you don't feed them enough, you'll lose a season. And I just don't want to lose a season especially on the really exciting holdbacks that I have. A lot of people that have bought animals from me were kind of excited because they're like, you know what, your animals came and they were well fed, and I appreciated that. So that's another advantage. If you're buying an animal from me, it's getting fed. I'm not starving it to death like a lot of these breeders do. And look, I understand it's expensive to feed these animals, and if you're selling an animal, your inclination is not to feed them as much or feed them smaller prey. And what I do is I try to get everything fed. Either really almost weekly. Because I don't know. I just do it. It's just my routine. Even if it's a small prey item, I like them to eat. And then once again, usually once a month, I'll give them a week off. But usually I get to the point where I'm like, nah, maybe I'll just feed them small prey or. Not everything eats also. When you have a lot of animals, you have some animals that just don't eat. They're in shed, they're breeding, whatever, and so you have to, rotate around. So I never order one for one. There's always less animals that I need to feed because I know invariably, something's not going to eat. Now, some weeks I perfectly time it, some weeks I actually run short, and then some weeks I have so many extras I don't even know what to do with them all. So I have to go to what I call the garbage disposals. I go to the male boas that I don't feed a lot, or the male carpet pythons that I don't feed very often, and then those are the weeks that they'll eat because I have extras. And so that's a strategy that I use. It doesn't mean it's right. So, it's just whatever works. So Frozen Thawed Tuesday night, Wednesday night I get my delivery from my guy Matt, and then I feed the everything else live. The ball pythons. I never feed a ball python Frozen Thawed. Matter of fact, I was so worried because I think it was last year. My guy ran out of medium rats, live ones, and I had to get frozen ones from him. And I'm like, oh, these ball pythons are never going to eat. It was like in the middle of the breeding season, and you know what? I was shocked to find that a lot of them did eat the Frozen Thawed. Thank God. When they're in the middle of that, I'm building follicles. I'm ready to, breed. I'm ready to, lay egg. They'll eat. They'll eat. They'll eat Frozen Thawed even. But you try to feed them that like after they've just laid a clutch of eggs. They'll laugh at you. They'll just leave it. They won't even eat it. So you have to know your animals. I'm starting to get a pattern on my animals and seeing how they work. Now, a lot of people say, what do you have, a knapsack on here? I got this, not that this is relevant to snake breeding, but I just bought this thing. I like to, find these objects and these weird gadgets online that seem to work. Everyone's, as you get older, you're worried about your posture. You don't want to hunch forward. My father was all hunched over when he was kind of older. So this thing, if you look at it, it forces, it kind of pulls your shoulder blades back. And if you have posture problems, not that I have them, but I'm worried I might get them. That's how paranoid I get. Because, you look at your parents, you become your parents as you get older. You guys will find out if you're younger. This holds you kind of in good posture, and it reminds you to not hunch over. Especially if you sit at a computer for a lot of hours a day, give it a shot. I got this online. One of these, Amazon.com sells them, and just put in good posture brace or whatever, and it's pretty easy to get on. You kind of just slip it over your shoulders, and it just kind of holds your shoulder blades back so that you're not all hunched over, because that's the posture you take when you're on the computer. I hate when I see people walking around and they're like in their 20s or 30s and they're all rounded over. That's going to get worse, believe me, and you're not going to be happy later in life. So there's a extra little tidbit of information on this Tuesday night, actually Wednesday morning, at the snake feeding regimen. Now, tomorrow, I know I promised that we were going to do it today. Tomorrow I'm going to talk about caging, and then maybe the day after that we're going to pull those. I think the blue tongues, we're going to pull them out of the cold room and maybe warm them up and maybe offer them some food. Olive pythons, I think I'm going to bring also into the warmer area here and introduce males and females. That's going to at least be in the next week or two. I keep saying maybe I should wait, and I see other people doing it, and then I get panicky. That's what happens. You watch other people do things a little earlier than you, and you get nervous. You got to stick to your game plan. I'm at around the 10-week mark anyway, so I can that I've been cooling them, so I probably can either go a little longer or not. It doesn't really matter, but I might try, to hold out a little longer. I think I'm going to get those blue tongues warmed up a little bit, because the blue tongues, I'm all excited now to try to breed them after watching Joe Balls out in Australia from Blue Tongue Lizard, seeing all the crazy stuff he's producing this year. Oh my God, this guy is just knocking it out of the park with blue tongues. I mean, he's got snows and moon glows. He's got the whitest and the darkest and the coolest looking blue tongues. If you want to see nice blue tongue skinks, go to his page, his Instagram, his Facebook, his YouTube channel. He is the best. I got to get him on Muscle Serpents University. I really want to interview him, because he is just so knowledgeable and he's just so far ahead of the curve. He also produced some pretty cool, I believe, albino bred-lice pythons. Now, they're not obviously pure, because the albino comes from the Darwin carpet python that he obviously crossed with the Brettles and produced double hets, and then obviously produced the Brettles albino. And I want to just talk to him about that little project too. Pretty cool looking snakes. So that's really going to be it for today. It was a short video, but I wanted to give you guys a little taste of what I'm doing here at the Snake Room. Remember, hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications, hit the like button, and we'll see you back tomorrow morning.